Hey everybody, this is MIDI 2 Project 1, and this project sort of picks up where the last class left off. You're going to be sequencing melody, harmony, bass line, drums, all the parts, but to a lead sheet that I've given you. In this case, it's Bye Bye Blackbird. And the reason I'm doing this is because I didn't want you to have to worry about composing something, so you can just kind of work from a score. And also because with this tune and with a lot of jazz standards, we're introducing some harmonies that are a little bit more than just triads. So having to kind of confront those those extra notes and figure out what they are and how they work. This video is not about that. This video is really the construction of the sequence itself. So I'm going to show you my screen and what I came up with tonight, just kind of fooling around, and show you the parts, solo things, let you hear the whole thing from top to bottom, but also kind of show you how we construct different textures and use different voices, pan things, and add effects to try to take the sequence kind of next level. So I only did sections A, B, and C, but you'll see that I've got quite a few tracks here in the session. So let me just start, I suppose, by playing it for you. Here we go. All right, so it has the basic stuff. It has a drum groove. I'll solo that for just a second. And I first came up with like a loop, and then I went back and I played the same groove, but I played it through. So I sort of performed the beat or the groove that I wanted, but I performed it from top to bottom of the track because I wanted it to feel like it was played. It doesn't mean I didn't go back and quantize and fix stuff up. But there's just small, very little variations in the way that I phrase things or the amount of emphasis or velocity that I put into it. So here's the drum track by itself. So it's pretty simple. But one of the things that I did do, and I will show you this here, is I decided that the hi-hat stuff was like too strong. I wanted it to be a very, very light touch, and I just couldn't get that light of a touch when I played it in. So there is a way to actually select all the notes. So if I kind of zoom in, you can see these are the hi-hat notes here, the little F sharps. And if you, at least on my keyboard, it's the the Windows key. I'm actually on a Mac here, but whatever the one is in the middle, you'll figure it out. Hold that key and play the note on the keyboard over here on the left-hand side of the screen, and it selects all of those notes of that pitch. And then I go down to my velocity map, and I can turn them all up or down, and they all stay relative to each other. Like it doesn't change. It doesn't make them all the same. It just makes them all higher or lower. So that's one little thing that I did that I think really helped just kind of settle the drums in and make them feel good, sort of level-wise. I've got just a basic keyboard pad that's playing the chords. That's this one right here. And I played very simple, just played downbeats, whole notes. And I'll point out that, on the chart, there's sort of the chords, and then there's chords up above, like it says F major 7, and then up above, it's got this G minor 7, C7. Well, these are sort of like alternate chords that you could play if you wanted to. I just ignored that stuff. I just played just the very basic chords, and in some cases, I just left things out, and I just made it simple. It's also got a bass part. And I did the same thing. I sequenced something when I composed it, and then I went back and I replayed it to add little bits of variation and to make sure that it felt good. A lot of times, after I know what the part is, I can play it with a little bit more intention and sort of phrasing, and so it sounded better. So that's kind of what the A section is. The flute, there's like a flute string thing that's playing the melody. I added this little fun, just a color thing, a little glissando right here. And I put a delay on that. So if you look at the module here, there's a little delay on that little glissando. And I also put a percussion thing that happens at the same time. If you look up here, little bell tree, right? So it's just like a little flavor, a little piece of ear candy that's really nice. Here it comes. Right? So these little things that you can add in that just kind of draw the interest. So to move on, when I get to the B section, I wanted to change the texture, and I just got rid of the drums. I just had them lay out. And I went for more of an orchestral voice here. So I've got 2 sets of strings. Actually, there's this bass or low strings, and then it says second violins, but I put them kind of opposite of each other. So if you look at my mixer view, where it says second violins and then it says bass, it's really just low strings. If you look at the panning, I've got them panned out so that it's kind of doing a stereo thing. And then I played the melody here on oboe, along with some strings. And I added a clarinet as sort of a counter melody. So let me play this for you. This is clarinet and oboe at the B section. Right? So it's sort of playing underneath the melody and offering this little sort of counter melody. And a lot of times you can just find anything that's sort of in the scale that works. Like if it sounds good to your ear, it probably works. And I just played with it until I got something that I liked. Here it is with the whole orchestra. Letter B. Different texture, right? And all of these have, generous reverb, and it's all inside of the plugin. I didn't do any kind of routing or any kind of bussing. I just added reverb right to the voice. And then at letter C, it just goes back to the original groove, the original sound. And at the end, I added again this little kind of doohickey at the end. And then I just played a nice warm chord, a little landing chord here. Right. So this is just playing simple versions of the chords, adding some arrangement, or maybe more to the point, orchestration, where I kind of brought in different sounds and tried to use different textures. One last thing. I added this sort of pizzicato sound. So let me go back to the beginning and solo this for you. This is it's like a pizzicato, which is when you pluck the strings in the string section. It sounds like this. 2, 3, 4. Right, and that's, I'm playing like the fifth and the root or something of the chord. You know, if you know the notes that are in a chord, you can play it. The full thing is the chord pad, and then you can pick one note of a chord and play it in some kind of a rhythmic or, you know, a rhythmic way or some kind of textural way. And you know it's going to work because it's a note that's already in the chord. I mean, I'm just playing stuff that's already there, but I'm using textures, rhythmic ideas to kind of build the track in that way. So anyway, this is just my, you know, quick little example of taking Bye Bye Blackbird and sequencing it in MIDI using some different voices. And I hope this was helpful. Maybe we can talk about it in class. All right. Cheers. See you soon.